Laid back Mickey here, and today we are going over higher seated trikes versus lower seated trikes. But let's talk about the history of low versus high. You go back about 15, 20 years ago, and pretty much all the recumbent trikes out there were lower seated. My first one was a Greenspeed GT3, and Greenspeed started out wanting to make fast trikes. They were low to the ground, aerodynamic, and super fun. And after a long ride, it was hard for me to get out of it. I had to crawl out of it, get on my hands and knees, and pull myself up. Mainly just because my body was getting worn out. But you know what? You go maybe about 10 years ago, the market started to change. The average person said, you know what? Low isn't the thing I want. It's kind of hard to get in and out of, and I want something a little higher. And so a lot of people said, hey, will you make something that is a little higher up and easier to get in and out of? Greenspeed started to do that. Trike started to do that. They came out with the Rover and the Rambler. That one became super popular back in the day. And then everybody else kind of followed suit. They all started making a little higher seated trikes. So if we think about the history of trikes, and we think about why manufacturers back in the day were making mostly lower trikes, it's because they were thinking like performance, speed, and they're bike enthusiasts that wanted something a little faster. And when you're low to the ground with aerodynamics, the wind blowing over you easily, they're going to be faster. But things changed in the marketplace, and then people started to want to get the everyday person in a trike. So back when I got into trikes, I wanted something low and fast and something that was fun and adventurous. I also noticed that my wife and my daughter, they wanted something that was easy to get into. So I said, you know what? It's not just about enthusiasts anymore. It's not about people wanting to go fast anymore. It's about people wanting just to get out and ride and have a good time. And so the market really opened up to everybody. And the manufacturer said, we're getting more requests for higher seated trikes. They wanted something that was easier to get into and something that had more versatility. Yeah, the days of the low to the ground, super fast, you know, there's still some people that want that, but the majority of the people nowadays, they want something easy to ride, fun to ride, that they can go on the bike trail for 30, 40 miles, not get beat up, and just have a great time. If you like comparisons of different trikes, go ahead and subscribe below because we make many of those videos. And the thing is, a lot of the low trikes, they're pretty low to the ground to where there's not a lot of clearance between the frame and the ground. So if you're going on any gravel or big bumps and ruts that's, you know, not a paved road, then that's where the higher seated trikes are going to be a lot better. Even like the mid-seated trikes like the Catrike 559 or the Catrike Demont, those have more clearance. They're just a lot better on different terrains. So with a low trike, they weren't really designed for an all-around trike. They were designed either like, you know, go long ways on the road for speed, for distance. For the speed and distance, they wanted smaller tires. They used to have like 1.35 or 1.5 inch, just skinny tires for a trike. Those aren't very conducive for like gravel or dirt. And so you look at the higher seated trikes and they now have like minimum like 1.75 or 2.0. And so like this Rambler by Trike is like a 2.0 width tire. Not only does that allow you to go on different terrain without being jerked around a lot, it's a comfier ride. It's a softer ride. So it kind of feels like you have suspension even if you don't. Wider tires are going to give you a more comfortable ride versus the skinny tires are going to be bumpy. They may be fast, but they're going to be bumpy and more jerky. And so I want something that's more comfortable for my ride. The low seated trikes are either fixed seats or like they're carbon seats where they fit a small butt, right? They don't fit a little wider butt. Yeah, on the higher seated trikes, they have adjustable seats that go backwards and forwards so you could sit more upright or lean back more. They started making, I don't know, I guess it was about 7 years ago, they started making these higher seated trikes with wider seats. And then even like the Catrike Max of recent, that came out a few years ago, that's a wider seat. And so a lot more people that wouldn't normally ride a two-wheel bike because the seat is small and uncomfortable, they like to ride something that is more comfortable. And even on a recumbent trike, maybe if your butt's a little wider, maybe you want a little wider seat, so you can get those wider seats now. Many of the manufacturers now are making trikes that will actually handle the weight. And so they'll be like a little bigger tubing, a little more stout, or the seat will be a little wider. And so what they wanted to do is to make it so everybody could ride a trike. And so like our slogan here at Laid Back Cycles is freedom to ride. We want to give everybody the freedom to ride and cycle and have fun, get out there in the sun, enjoy life. So let's talk about motors on low trikes versus higher seated trikes. So the low trikes, they usually don't have motors. You talk about the ICE VTX, no motor. The Cat Trike 700, no motor. The Greenspeed Aero, no motor. They weren't meant for motorized trikes. Motors are popular in the marketplace today. Like everything has power assist, bicycles, power assist. Most of our trikes are power assist. And the reason why people like power assist is it helps you to ride with ease. I did a video recently on going up a hill and the difference between going up a hill, a steep hill without a motor, and going up a steep hill with a motor. And having a motor makes it so much easier and so much more comfortable for your body, especially if you have aches and pains like back issues or knee issues. A power assist motor makes riding easier. You still get great exercise, even ride longer because you don't feel all the aches and pains of your body. And so power assist is popular on the higher trikes. But the lower trikes, they're thinking like, hey, you're still fit, you're still strong, you still want to go fast. They're not usually offering it with the low to the ground trikes. A lot of people that have the lower trikes, once their body ages a little bit more and they start getting more aches and pains, they go into a higher seated trike that is more comfortable for them. Most of the people that are buying trikes nowadays, I would say only 10% of them are getting low trikes. The rest are getting mid to high seated trikes. So the cool thing about mid seated trikes is they're the best of both worlds. They're a little lower where they give you less wind resistance, where the wind can flow over you, but they give you the advantages of like an adjustable seat. They're a little higher off the ground so that they can give you more clearance to go over ruts and bumps and on gravel. Those mid-seated trikes will come with like a 1.5 inch tire, but you can go up to a 2-inch tire. So there's a lot more adjustability, there's a lot more usefulness out of a mid-seated trike. And so the reason why you would go in a mid-seated trike is if you still have that gusto inside of you and you say, I still want to go fast. People that go, I don't want to go fast, they may start out sitting in the higher seated trike just because they're easier to get in and out of, and they are just fun to ride. So if you like this video, you're definitely going to love the next one.